Hey everybody, Joe Bumblenakers here. Hope y'all are doing well. Figured I'd touch base today. Today I wanted to talk about, I come from a military background. It's the United States Marine Corps. So today's there's a statement they used to make, is that you plan to fail when you fail to plan, from the military perspective. And I think it's important as a homesteader that we recognize you can't fail to plan. Now, a lot of people's fear and the reason they don't plan is they don't know. So they figure, hell, it's probably not going to work, so let's just get it and figure it out along the way. And there's a certain amount of figuring it out as you go along that's inherent to homesteading and independence and sustainability. But the reality is you're also caring for living creatures and raising animals and your gardens and such. And if you do not adequately take care of your animals and your property and resources, you're dooming them to death in some cases with animals, and then you're just not giving Mother Nature a chance to reward you. So you do need to do a certain level of planning. And this is learned from us in that, for example, we had our seedlings ready. We indoored seeded tomatoes and some things that herbs and spices, and we didn't think the weather would get as cold as it did. Came through 2 or 3 nights ago. We had them outdoors in one of our little greenhouse areas. Got too cold. Looks like it's killed off a significant number of those seeds. We brought them indoors immediately the next day, and we put them under heat lamps, and not heat lamps, but grow lamps, trying to see if we can salvage them. How many of them survived. And we have a decent amount that we think made it through that trauma because we so quickly recovered. But that was our planning. It failed, so now we will plan better in the future. And you see that in everything about homesteading is you plan something, during the execution of that plan you realize it wasn't a good plan, and you replan, you adjust your plan. If you go into homesteading thinking like, well, shit, I'm just gonna go get some chickens and I'm gonna put them down and I'm gonna plant a garden or two somewhere, just gonna put them down, and you don't give it at least, at this day and age, I feel like to not at least have done some research is unforgivable. Where I've got my phone and I can have access to I can look at the most insane, obtuse theories on anything. Why on earth wouldn't you spend some time saying, okay, there's gardening sites that'll tell you when you put in what you want to grow, and it'll tell you when to plant your seeds. Like, there's 1,000 resources on raising these animals. And for me to go on your own, to go it alone, that's not how homesteading was done through the entirety of human history. It was a generational knowledge passed on from one generation to the next. You didn't just wing it. Why? Because life is hard. These animals don't live if you don't take care of them. And you have a moral responsibility when you raise animals to raise them well. But what brought that on is I'm standing in my turkey enclosure. Now, I didn't get video of me having to catch turkeys and move them because I only have my phone as my camera, and I needed both hands to catch my turkeys. But as you all remember, when we set up, the original plan was we had 2 mating pair. Each breed had a mating pair, so we had 2 mating pairs. And I originally had 1 breed in this enclosure that I'm in, and 1 breed in this one, and the entire measurements of this was 30 feet by 30 feet. So it basically 2 areas of 30 feet by 15 feet was the dimensions. And we wound up, just because we had our tom, and the Jane of the one turkey breed picked the other tom. We couldn't get her to pick the tom from her breed, so we moved the tom along, found another place for that tom to somebody who needed that breed of tom. Got it. He's much happier now. But as I started looking I figured this was enough area for those 2 and now 3 turkeys and a chicken, because we had a chicken bond with them, and it was just, I'll wait till it's a longer story. But I figured that's a large enough area for them to not destroy it. Frankly, I was wrong. They're beating up this area pretty heavily. So I rotated them, since I have 2 pastures that were dedicated to turkeys. Due to my original plan, which failed, now I move them into this open, which has been resting for about a month. and it's ready for them to go on it. I'm putting some hay and stuff down on the ground here. I'm going to sweep up some of the sticks and such so that it'll hopefully we'll have some grass pop up, and when they're ready to rotate back, hopefully we'll have seen this area recover. But that's part of planning. You know, this was a failed plan, but we can modify a plan, even a bad one. If you don't plan at all, you're still going to be learning these steps all the time, and then you don't have the record of what you did to improve. So failing to plan is planning to fail. And as a homesteader, don't be afraid of failure in your plan. Your plan will fail almost 99% of the time. And when you get it right, Mother Nature will throw a curveball at you, and it'll be failed again, and you'll learn from that. Failure to plan is planning to fail. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Joe with Bumbling Acres. Have a wonderful day. Let me see if I can get my turkeys are over there. Here's our turkeys and our 2 hens, and you'll see a little chicken and our Tom. So I call the turkeys Janes, the hens, just because I figure if Tom's got a name, so should the hens. So anyway, have a great day. Joe Bumbling Acres signing off. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any insight on this or you have any questions, I'm not an expert in this. I don't pretend to be an expert in this. I don't think you need to be an expert in homesteading to start it. I think it's important to accept that you're going to learn on the way, but you still have to have a plan in place and realize your plan is probably not going to be good. That's okay.